is up, everyone? Welcome to Crossroads PlayStation Podcast. I am your host, LeRon Dawkins, and Team Crossroads is here tonight to talk more things PlayStation and gaming for the week. Here with me, as always, is Austin Campbell, our resident PlayStation doctor.
What's up, everyone? How's it going? Glad to be here. Another Tuesday night, PlayStation night, which is every night.
So we have our Artful Dodger, i.e. Chris True, back with us tonight.
Artful Dodger?
Yeah. That's me being nice right now.
That's you being nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you've managed to dodge. You've managed to dodge LeRon's car every time he's trying to hit you with it. And so it's going.
Yeah. It's like you ruined one more goddamn show for me.
Hey, that's not my fault. I was here at 7:30 on time.
Yeah, well, everyone that tuned into last week's podcast, they know why the show was so late. Thank God, it is what it is. And coming back to sit with Team Crossroads once again is the man that brings all the lusciousness to the game. Our good friend Brody Fultz is in the fourth chair tonight. Welcome back, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm pumped to be back on Crossroads. Been a little bit.
How's everybody doing?
Good. I'm good.
Oh, good.
No complaints? Nothing to complain about?
Nothing I should complain about.
It doesn't do any good anyway, right?
No.
It's
just another day tomorrow.
Hey, I complain all the time, and I feel just terrible the next day, so, it's obviously working. Did y'all hear the door slam, by the way? Like, in the middle of what y'all were saying? Okay. Cool. Just making sure, because you, weirdly laughed when it went off, so when he slammed it, so I assumed that you guys got that too, so I was like, fuck. It's going to be a text message later. Just an angry LeRon face.
I didn't hear it, so no, you're good.
What y'all do this weekend?
I was just about to ask that question. Your mind reader. I was just about to ask that question.
I went and watched my nephew wrestle. He was wrestling for regionals and is now moving on to semi-state this weekend. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
But other than that, nothing too crazy.
I watched a wrestling video the other day. It was high school wrestling. Some kid just threw a punch right in the middle of it. I was like, oh,
threw a punch?
Straight up, just like a straight punch to the face. And the kid he stood up and he's like, what? He didn't understand. He was like, why? Why are you doing this? It was hilarious.
Wrestling's one of those weird sports, man. It's such a high pressure, and also, I mean, it is the absolute battle of strength. So when you start to lose it is unnerving, and some people do not take it very well.
My dad was a wrestler in high school, and I think he went to college for it, and he was always trying to teach us how to wrestle. We're like, Dad, we don't want to do this. We don't want to do this. Stop putting us in positions like this. We don't like it. He's like, no, this is wrestling.
This is not fun. I'm not enjoying this.
I'm not enjoying this.
It's just
real wrestling.
My kids have no interest in it at all. So
I didn't either. Well. None of us did. We're like, we just want to shoot a ball in a hoop, Dad. We don't want to do this.
Thankfully, my parents didn't try to force me into sports. I think it was more of a situation where I without giving too much details into it, my mom really really sheltered me as a kid. So I was one of those kids that every time I asked if I could do this sport or enroll in this thing or whatnot, my mom would always freak out and be like, no, because you're gonna get hurt and all this shit. So yeah, I didn't. So my dad learned not to push me onto a whole bunch of shit. He tried to get me on the wrestling team at one point. He tried to get me into football too. I did play baseball for a couple of seasons at one of the schools, but the crazy part is One year, me and my dad, we finally worked on my mom enough to get her to relax a little bit for me to join some type of sports organization for the school and stuff like that. And I really wanted to try my hand at playing football, not basketball. I suck at basketball.
I was gonna guess
golf.
bowling.
Yeah, I was gonna say golf.
golf. I'm not too bad at golf, but yeah. So I do tryouts. I make it. I make it into the reserve status. Like these are basically the guys that because the coach always has like the people he's automatically going to pick depending on if they came back from the previous season or whatnot. So I was on the basically the red shirt while we were waiting to see like who would and would not make the cut and stuff like that. So we finally get to like some practice games and stuff against some of the other schools, and this is when I was going to school in El Paso. And I remember this is it because the way the school district was, like the school district was kind of close knit. So like the other schools, if they weren't like direct divisional competitors, they would do practice games with each other and stuff like that. So I remember I was on the field. And I was going to block this guy. We had possession of the ball, so I was going to block this guy. I remember coming at this guy, and this guy stiff armed me. Right, the stiff arm wasn't so bad. The problem was he stiff armed me just hard enough so it took me off my feet. So like when I go to fall back and everything, I fell, and I put my hands out behind me, and I hyperextended my wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, think back to where I said like my mother had always sheltered me.
All you could hear was the screaming.
I didn't really scream out there on the field. I wasn't hurt.
Talking about you.
Okay.
I was gonna say all you can hear is your mom say, "I told you so." Like I told you so.
So yeah. I get up. There is definitely something wrong with my wrist. Like it's the first time I've ever been hurt like that in my life. I'm like 14 years old at this point. First time I've ever been hurt in my life that badly before. So coach immediately like comes to me because he sees the way he saw how I fell and he saw how I got up. So he immediately runs out there on the field. He's like, "Hey, are you okay?" I'm like, "No, coach, I am not okay." He's like, "Okay." He's like, "How bad is it?" He tries to touch my wrist, and I was like, "Do not touch me." so he's like, "Okay." He's like, he checks his watch. It's like, "Okay, like the nurse is still here. Go talk to her." So I go to the nurse's office. And every time she attempts to grab my wrist to look at it, I mean like don't touch me, like it hurts and all that stuff. And she's like, we're gonna have to call your parents then so someone can take you to the emergency room to get looked at. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So about half hour later, my mom shows up at the school, walks into the nurse's office, and here was the golden part of this whole story. As soon as she walks to that door, I see her, and I immediately start crying. I start bawling like I've been jumped by like 7 bullies or something.
It was the only defense. It was the only way you could play that. That was the right move.
Yeah. There was no other option.
So of course she's freaking out. She's like, "What happened? What happened?" And the nurse is like, I'm not sure. Like there's something wrong with his wrist. We don't know if it's broken or whatnot. He wouldn't let me examine him, so I had to call you so someone can take him to the emergency room. I get to the emergency room. Doctor looks at me. I finally am calm enough. I guess it's because the doctor was there. I'm finally calm enough to let someone actually touch me and look at my wrist and everything. Like the hyperextended wrist, basically like a very bad sprain. I wound up in a sling for 4 weeks. So I immediately like let the coach know that I'm out, I won't be coming back to practice until I'm out of the sling and whatnot. So about a month later, after I've been out the sling and been cleared and everything, right? My dad comes home from work one day, and I'm at the table at home doing my homework, and he looks at the time. He's like, "Hey, isn't it practice day?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you going back?" I just look at him and I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Okay." And as the last time I worried about joining any type of athletics program outside of ROTC because I was doing ROTC. Oh, and that was the other thing too. I was in ROTC at the time, so of course my company commander kicked my ass for getting hurt. Yes, but that was the last time like I worried my parents about doing any type of organized sports or anything like that. And yep, I hate to admit it, I'm just a big bitch. I don't like getting hurt. Like my personal trainer yells at me all the time because like if I get a little bit out of my comfort zone working out, I'm like, hey man, like this enough of this. I pay you. You're gonna listen to me.
See, I had the opposite experience. I was a soccer player. All of us, me, my sister, and my brother, all have done different sports. But I played in college. My sister was an internationally ranked baton twirler. She traveled the world doing it. Then my brother is just a baseball anomaly. He's been throwing 80-mile-per-hour fastballs for the last, I think he's 16 now. He's been doing it since like 13, 14, which is insane. I haven't been able to play catch with him for years, but I played soccer and my dad was one of the coaches. So I played my whole life. This is one of the last years that I played travel ball, and I'm the last guy back. So I have to take have to stop the attacker coming towards me. So I go time it, slide tackle, get the ball cleanly, but right as he's going to shoot the ball. So he missed the ball and drove straight through on my face. And it's like, it's like 1998, 1999. So I'm like unconscious. Dad walks up, asks me, all right, da-da-da-da-da. I remember saying that motherfucker kicked me in the face and my dad saying, hey, watch your mouth. Because that's what was important in that moment. Because here's the kicker. When we get in the car, we're like driving away. He goes, hey, you might have a concussion. Don't go to sleep.
Yep.
And that was it.
Wait, who told you that? Who told you that? Your dad?
Yeah, that was my dad. Oh, that's 100% Mike true. Oh, yeah.
Concussion protocol back then was a very different thing than it is now. It's like, hey, don't go to sleep. Yeah, you'll be fine.
You'll be okay. Just don't go to sleep.
I remember a funny thing. Were you working in GameStop with me, Chris, when we had Rob working with us?
Little Rob?
Yeah. No, wait, no, not the light skinned guy, the Hispanic dude. Rob.
Oh yeah, I remember Rob.
You remember that night he got into that car accident and he came to work anyway?
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm fine, but all through the night we could tell he was pretty woozy.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, look, I've already called Greg. You can go home anytime if you think you need it. And he's like, no, I'm good. And I'm like, how's your head feeling right now? He's like, I'm okay. I have like a slight headache and there's a little bit of ringing in my ears. I'm like, okay. And I noticed you're walking and you have a balance issue right now. I was like, come here. So like we walked to the back of the office, to the back of the store, and as I walk past one of the magazine racks, I grab one of the episodes of Game Informer and I roll it up. And he's like, "What are you doing with that?" I'm like, "I'm about to smack you in the back of your head. If your nose starts bleeding, we know you have a concussion." He ran out of the shop so fast. Oh man,
was that even true, or did you just try to?
No. That was true. Like shit. Like next time I'm talking to him, I'll see if I can screenshot the conversation and see if he remembers that.
No, I like he fucking remembers that. Walking around in circles with half his body is dead, and you're like, of course it's GameStop. They're like, oh no, he's fine, just dust him off. Bleeding from his ears. Would you like 5 cents for that game? Yeah.
Yep.
Put a beanie on, you're scaring the customers away.
Sounds about right. Oh man. Oh, sometimes I really miss it. And the other times it's like, man, no, I don't.
I never miss it. And also, just in case you were wondering, my weekend was splendid too. We never got around to that. We just talked about you guys sports.
I didn't know we had to ask you how your weekend was.
My weekend was wonderful. We went out of town. I was on vacation. We went to Great Wolf Lodge, which is like a Chuck E. Cheese you stay at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've been to the Great Wolf Lodge out here in Williamsburg a couple of times. Yeah, you're right.
As somebody who doesn't have kids, why? right? Like that was like the good thing about it, right? Like everybody else has kids, so like Bodhi's on the floor like "fuck you guys," and everybody, the other parents are like stepping over him. Yep, nope, hey buddy, we were there last night. Good luck. Like everybody's on the same team.
Oh, I assumed this was like for adults. Like this was like a David Buster's you stay at or something like that. I've never heard of a Grey Wolf Lodge.
It's like the big thing's like it's a big indoor water park, but it is pretty kid centric. But they also have like a whole area that's like a arcade and stuff like that.
That's why I used to go. I used to go to the arcade because there used to be a DDR, a Dance Dance Revolution machine in there.
And that makes sense. That's all you had to tell me. If I would have known there was a DDR machine, I would have known you were there like every weekend challenging children.
No, kids never played the damn. You know what? No one ever played the damn thing. So usually, me and a handful of buddies that were just like DDR nuts, we would just go there and play because we even told the staff how to unlock all the songs onto it. So it was one that
you did.
Four
guys standing up against the machine.
They appreciated it because the simple fact is like they tell us after we unlocked all the songs for them, they would come back on their days off and play. Because we unlocked all the songs. But once they I don't even know what happened to that Dance Dance Revolution machine, but once that was gone, I had no more reason to come back.
I haven't seen the last time I saw Dance Dance Revolution.
What's that? What'd you say, Austin?
I was saying the last time I saw a DDR machine was in the theater. Like our local theaters have the DDR machines. I don't know what Chris said though. That's why I stopped. I know.
All I said was there's a joke in there somewhere. He stopped coming after the DDR machine left.
What does DDR stand for?
Dance Dance Revolution.
I don't think that's what it were.
Dingle Dingle Ramrod.
What's the? Yeah, that's what I was expecting was the answer. Something along those lines.
Chris Zari's got something for that.
I thought you were legitimately asking.
I thought he was too. I was a little taken back.
No.
It's like
It's been a while since you've been on, Brody. Like you can't follow Austin. All right, guys. I think that's enough chit-chatting. All right, this is Crossroads, the PlayStation podcast of Boss Rush Games. Every week we come together bringing you the latest news, rumors, games, and general discussion in the world of PlayStation. Crossroads airs live on twitch.tv/Exodus803 Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can't check out the show live, head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or other podcast locations to get the show. You can see a recap. Pardon me. You can see a recap of the show every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. on youtube.com/Exodus803, as well as early on Thursday mornings at youtube.com/BossRush Network. If you want to see all of our previous episodes, previous episodes of our show, all of our episodes can be found on our website, which is bossrush.net. If you like the show, please consider subscribing to the podcast and giving us a follow on Twitch. Also, remember to please share, rate, and review us wherever you check out the show. We would love you for it. All right, everyone. You know what time it is. It's time for the "What are we playing?" section.
Oh yeah!
All right, so Brody, you're in the hot seat tonight. So let's talk to us, man. What you been playing this past week?
So I finished up Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay,
that was. I actually really enjoyed my time with it. I was also happy to get it done, only because I have a lot of other things I need to knock off of my backlog here, but I also finished up Halo. I know this is a PlayStation podcast, so don't fucking kill me right now, but I had to finish up the Halo campaign.
This is the section of the show where anything goes.
Okay. And then I've also been playing Inscription on PC and really enjoying that. It's a very, very unique game. I haven't hit the twist. I know there's some sort of a twist that comes at some point in it, and I have not hit that point yet. I have tried to stay as spoiler free on this as I can. I've still been predominantly playing the card game part of it, and it's very, very interesting. I'm really enjoying it though, and I'm excited to see where it goes and how it gets all sorts of wonky. So
Here's a question for you: was Inscription actually worth being a contender for an indie game for best indie game?
so far, I would say so. I mean, I probably only have a couple hours in it at the moment. I'd say maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. So I haven't played enough of it to really justify that, I guess. I would like to beat it before I really kind of gave it any sorts of like crazy accolades or anything. Personally, my game of the or indie game would have easily been Death's Door, as I'm sure Chris would. Yeah, see him perk up over there. As I'm sure Chris would.
I'm immediately Googling Inscription just because he said it.
Oh God! But no, I think it's very good. I think there is a pretty good reason behind it. I usually don't get into card games, and this one has actually captured my attention. So hats off to them, because if you can capture my attention with a card game, you're doing pretty good.
It's on the Switch too, so I'm gonna download that shit as soon as.
Oh God!
I don't know if the twist is what I've been told, but the screwy things that they do for that game is interesting. Jesse from Arsenal X had been playing that and tell me all the stuff that was going on with it. I was like, I gotta play this. He said you must play it on PC though if you're gonna play it. That's the best way to experience it. That's the
Oh yeah,
I can see it.
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah, I've been playing it on PC as well. So, and it's not like, I mean, you don't even have to have crazy hardware or anything for it. Like it's pretty bare bones as far as graphically, but yeah. But I also did upgrade my PC recently, so I can actually play, modern games on it. So that's pretty cool. Enjoy that.
Ooh, what are you rocking?
I got a 2060 now, so I'm at least into the last, couple years or so. So
yeah. At least you're one gen behind. I'm also one gen behind. So my man.
It's funny because I literally got a case for my PC for Christmas because I just wanted to get it to where I could actually start upgrading things, and it turned into basically rebuilding my entire PC. The only thing that I am still using from my original PC at this point is my CPU. Everything else is brand new. So
that's how it happens. How it happens.
That's how I understand PC gaming at this point, and it sounds like that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
See,
all
I can go for an upgrade on mine. I know somebody who does computers, but he's never around.
Yeah, you need to. Are you gonna look, man? I will build your next computer. You just gotta pay for it. You just gotta pay for the parts.
Why do I got to do that?
Because I'm not. I'm sorry. Do I look like a computer warehouse?
Yes.
No, I just moved recently. I threw a whole bunch of shit out. If you want a computer built off of like 1999 hardware, you should have talked to me back before I moved.
I'll figure something out. Put a potato in it.
All right, who's next? Yeah, potatoes make good power supplies.
That's what I heard.
Uh-huh.
I read it in a science book on the internet. I did my own research.
The Russians have been...
That's a punchline that people use for real. Oh, I did my own research.
Nick in the chat's like Brody's in the PC mustard race.
I don't even know what that means. I don't really like mustard, to be honest.
That's fair.
All right, who wants to go next?
I'm still playing Uncharted 4.
On the collection, right?
Yeah, I'm still playing the PS5 upgraded Uncharted 4. I just got to chapter 19 a little bit before we got on here, and so there's 3 more chapters left, and I'm really liking it. It's a wonderful game. It's like, man, Naughty Dog is so good at making games look good, and that's about it.
Hey man, the story and the research that they put into it, the Uncharted games are pretty good. They're pretty historically sound.
That's true.
Well, the stories are good. Zombies. The stories are good, and the graphics are good, but I can watch videos of Nathan Drake jumping all day because it's just ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous thing to watch.
that dude's athleticism, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and yet when you just push the jump button, it looks like me jumping, which is not good. Why is Nathan jumping like this? And there's so many times like everyone has this thing with Uncharted where it's like grabbing a ledge you thought you could grab, and then
and you just go right off a ravine.
And I'm like, or like he's grabbing a ledge that you definitely were not intending to grab or not going that way. And I've never called anyone an idiot more than Nathan Drake in a game because I'm like, no, you idiots. That's not what I want you to do.
I love when he accidentally when he goes to the one that you were not trying to go to, and then when you try to correct, then he like slips and falls down.
Yes. It's like, Nate, you deserve to die. I'm sick of this.
I need to go back and play that game.
Yeah.
It's the only one I only played once.
Was 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only played it once, and now this is my second time, and I think I'm actually appreciating it more the second time.
I agree.
I'll go right into Lost Legacy afterwards. Other than that, I'm not playing a whole lot. I'm playing a couple things on Switch, but I'm playing Breath of the Wild again. I'm giving it another shot, and
you say another shot like you didn't finish it.
I don't like it. I don't like Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a very hot thing. Yeah. I did finish it, but I don't like it. That was a big thing with a lot of my Nintendo friends, and so now I'm like, I'm giving it another shot. I'm playing through it. I don't plan on beating it this year. I plan on taking as much time as possible and just like trying to find everything in the game. But I'm like,
sorry. I quit listening like 5 minutes. All I hear is white noise now.
So why don't you like this? Like,
because it's too big. It's really empty for how big it is. Like
okay.
Yes.
I mean, I love Zelda, fair. And I love like the very like linear arity. I don't know how you would say that of the games, and this one was just really big, and I liked that idea until it was just like until you were there running, and I do make fun of people being like, "Oh, you can climb everything." I was like, "Okay, you can like climb everything in Assassin's Creed, only like it doesn't even make sense. Like you can't make fun of Assassin's Creed anymore because now you're just climbing a rock that has no grip on it, and you can just climb it. I guess that's cool. Like I just like there's all this kind of stuff that I just make fun of people for, but I'm getting another shot. The only thing I never liked about it was just so empty for how big it is. Like it just never felt like it deserved to be that big to me. It didn't do enough to be that big, but I also hate breakable weapons in any game. But that's another thing. I'm willing to put that aside.
One thing I'll say, Austin, is I always trust your assessment of a game. And for a guy who's only started Breath of the Wild but has not made the commitment to play it and beat it, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have the same feelings about it as you do, because also like honestly like I've never liked the change of format that Zelda did when it moved to the 3D realm. I've never liked that. I'm kind of a purist. I like the top down. Like the overhead view. I've always liked that, which is why I love the Zelda games in the style of like Link's Awakening and Four Swords Adventures and all that stuff. Like I love it. And of course the Minish Cap.
And don't get me wrong, I still like the 3D stuff. Like my favorite is Wind Waker, and that's a very like open game, and there's a lot of empty to it. But this one was just like, all right, we're gonna amplify the worst of Wind Waker and add it even more, and make it not on water and on ground. It's just all right. But that's me.
At some point, they're just gonna burn a copy of Majora's Mask right in front of us.
You take that fucking back.
I love Majora's Mask. I love Majora's Mask. I didn't
like any of the 64 era Zelda games.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay to be wrong.
Not liking it is not a right or wrong thing. I'm going to say that right now.
I just don't understand. Oh, going in that vein, I did just finish Link's Awakening, so
Yeah.
that's what I played over the weekend. I did play the remake. I never finished the original because I was like 5 or 6, and I would play a game. Like I remember playing the beginning 1,000 fucking times, but that was about it because I do it on car trips. So it was like this under lights and shit.
Yeah.
Because it was the early 90s and backlights weren't a thing. So it was really nice to go back and play the redone version. I like the top-down.
Playing it in handheld version, right?
Yep. Yeah, I played it. I played it a little bit on my TV, but I played it mostly in handheld at night, laying in bed in between episodes of King of the Hill because I went back and started watching that. And that show's funny as shit. I have friends in Texas.
Still funny.
It's so funny. I
went back and watched like the first 2 seasons not too long ago. Just like getting like just rewatching because I always watched it on TV. I never watched it all the way through. And I was like, this show's still funny. Like it's still the same. It's the same stuff they're talking about now is the same stuff there.
20 years
Texas.
ago.
Yeah.
Yep. And knowing more people in Texas now as an adult, it makes way more sense. But I didn't watch it as a kid. I was always like, can we just get to The Simpsons? Like, why are you making me wait another half an hour? I just want to watch The Simpsons.
I remember being.
I don't think I would have got it as much.
I remember being the same way about King of the Hill. Like, yeah, when I was young, I was like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "What is?" Like a. I didn't respect Beavis and Butthead when I was young either. So like, this was a definite spinoff of Beavis and Butthead, and I was like, "What is this? Come on, can we just get to The Simpsons, please?"
Yep, but. I don't think I would have appreciated it as much if I would have watched it then. Watching it now, I have a much better appreciation.
It's more adult. Yeah, it's more adult. At least with The Simpsons, like kids can watch it and enjoy it.
But Dale is fucking hilarious, man. That mofo, so oblivious to everything around him.
So is Link's Awakening all that you had done this past week?
Yeah, I played Fortnite as well, which I feel like is really... I don't know if it's gotten easier, but we've just basically been running roughshod over people. And so it's eventually going to not be fun.
Cool. Well, I finally got back into playing video games. Of course, like it was Monster Hunter Rise, but also did I pulled a number from your playbook, and that was I did the $10 upgrade of Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy.
I bought that.
I was like, why spend that extra money? Well, because I'm gonna spend the money to get the PC version. So I was like, you know what? They're not gonna get all that money. Not this time.
No.
Yeah. So I did start on Uncharted 4, and man, that opening when you're on the boat, like really trying to race to the island. Oh my god, like that shit looked beautiful.
Let me ask you. So I am playing the cutscenes in fidelity mode, and when I'm like running through the world, I put it back in performance mode because that 120 frames per second is god tier. I don't know what mode you're using when you're playing.
I'm playing overall in fidelity mode because because I just want to see what it looks like on PlayStation, because of course when I get the PC version, I'm going to be running it in straight performance mode, because graphics card, you can basically have fidelity mode and performance mode at the same time.
Right. They have a mode where they do both, but
But was it performance plus mode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I prefer just dropping in performance because I love it. Like it's so smooth. It makes it feel more like a shooter than Uncharted's ever felt like to me. So I'm not even
the fast response time. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even sneaking anymore. Like I'm enjoying the gunfight so much that I don't even try to sneak and try to like sneak my way through it. I just like straight up just like enter into a gunfight.
So you're just blowing through all your ammunition.
All the time. I'm like picking up whatever ammunition I get. Like I'm constantly I'm trading guns out all the time. I'm actually having a lot more fun doing it that way, where I'm just like I'm scrambling to try to find ammo somewhere, and just it's a lot of fun.
I may have to try it like that. Who knows? All right. And then and just to add for what am I watching? Like I finally made it to season 3 of Cobra Kai, and like man, like I'm actually enjoying the show. Like I don't know, I really don't understand why I didn't stick with it when it was on. Well, besides the fact it was on YouTube Red first.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I'm enjoying it.
Which is a weird thing, right? Like, because now it's on Netflix. I completely forgot entirely that it used to be on. I knew it used to be on something, but I had no idea it was on that.
Yeah.
Does that even
like,
still exist? I imagine it's just YouTube TV now.
Yeah, YouTube Red still exists. Like I still see like stuff. I still get advertisements for YouTube Red stuff. Like it feels like it's more like documentary stuff now.
That's interesting. That might be up my alley. I started just as an aside, as we're doing things we watched. I started watching The Legend of Vox Machina, which is fucking awesome.
I need to get on that.
We play a lot of D&D, and in the first 30 seconds, I was like, "Oh, that's exactly how we play." No shit. Like we played one game where one of our buddies was the DM, and it was boring as shit. So we were like, "Fuck it, we're just gonna do whatever we want." And so, my wife decided to start a cult through using the brothel. Because she said she was like, well, they would self-esteem and stuff. They'd be the easiest targets to pick for a thing. It's like, that sounds terrible, but okay, that's probably true. So,
yeah, is that Critical Roles? Is that their show?
It is. It is.
Yeah, my friends are talking. My D&D friends have been talking about it, so they've been watching it.
I can't do the podcast because it's boring. I do I have a lot of the Critical Role stuff. Just I find it interesting. I use a lot of their dice when we play. But I love the show. I got my dad into it. I told him about it, and he watched I said there's 3 episodes. Just go check it out. You'll probably like it. And then he called me the next week and was like, yeah, no, I watched the 3 episodes. And I was like, yeah, no, there's only 3 episodes. He goes, no, there's 6. What? Yeah, no, I've watched all of them.
Wait, they're dropping them in batches?
3. So this Friday will be 3. The next Friday will be 3.
Okay.
They made a just fuck ton of money on Kickstarter.
Okay.
Oh, I bet.
I think it's the highest making Kickstarter ever.
Wow.
All the stuff that people got for investing in it is worth dumb money.
All right, yeah, it's definitely on my list to watch. I would have actually started this weekend, but I had stuff going on. I had to travel for work, and then on Saturday I was out all day, like travel for work. I went to Northern Virginia, and then Sunday was I took one of the at-home COVID tests, and then spent time with my boyfriend. Yeah.
We're well versed in COVID tests over here.
Oh, I bet you are.
A fucking Pokemon catcher in there. Collecting them all. Jesus. Ugh.
We just got our free ones from the Postal Service the other day.
Haven't gotten ours yet.
Yeah, we got ours. As an aside, they did announce the Oscar nominees today, and it is mind blowing some of the stuff they left off.
Yeah. I bet. But
go ahead.
We're gonna go ahead and move on, but if you got something you want to add real quick.
Oh no, this is one of the first time in years where I've only seen, like, by the time that they make the announcement, that I've only seen one of the films. Because I like to watch all of them every year. I'm really, really into the Oscars. Weirdly, I like movies. If you haven't noticed, it's from the fucking posters on my wall. I've Whiplash and La La Land and the Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
but, that was all. It's just now we're just me rambling.
Nerd.
I'm just expressive.
All right. Let's go. Let's go ahead and break into tonight's news and events for this week, because we got a lot to talk about, actually, and I swear, like, it's one of those things where it's like, man, like, when they throw all this stuff at us, like, it's hard to, like, basically condense this down to a show, because last week's show was 2 hours and 15 minutes. I'm trying my best not to do that.
Please don't.
All right.
I feel bad getting out of 10.
Let's go ahead and get started here. But as always, we start first with new and noble games coming for this week, which is the week of February 7th to the 13th. Indie games. Yeah, that's what this week is looking like. Indies are holding the spotlight this week as all eyes are on two high-profile titles launching this week on both PS4 and PS5. We're starting off on April. February the 8th. We're starting off with February the 8th's entries, which are today, by the way, Tuesday. Wow, I'm just all sorts of wrong, aren't I? Up today is Ollie World for PS5 and PS4, as well as Sifu for PS5 and PS4. Ollie World is a bold new skateboarding action platformer that's bursting with personality. Flip and flow through the vivid and vibrant world of Radlandia, meeting colorful characters as you grind, trick, and air your way to discover the mystical skate gods on your quest for Nirvana. Ollie World marks the third entry in the critically acclaimed Ollie series from Roll 7, which is the BAFTA and multi-award winning independent studio. Right now, you can pick up Ollie World for PS5 and PS4 for $29.99 for the standard edition and the Rad edition at $44.99. And I think there might be a 10% off sale if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, so you may want to check that out. And then next up, rounding out today's releases is Sifu, which is a highly anticipated martial arts game from the team of developers at Slow Clap. You are a martial arts master bent on revenge, fighting odds that are impossible to overcome in a lifetime. But you have a secret weapon. Each time you die, you rise again. You race to finish your quest as your avatar grows frail and gray. So yes, there is definitely a mechanic here. Can you beat your foes before you are dead? The standard edition of Sifu is on PS5 and PS4 for $39.99, with the deluxe edition being $49.99. So check that out. And I think that one's also got a 10% off on PlayStation Store if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber. And then on the 10th of February, we have Edge of Eternity, which is a turn-based JRPG game that lovers are going to that JRPG lovers are going to enjoy.
I'm sure just regular lovers too.
I don't know. Like some people are RPG lovers and don't like this stuff, and some people are JRPG lovers and don't like games like The Witcher.
Hey man, don't judge people. People can be whatever they want to.
Hey, this wasn't judgment. I was just stating something I observed.
Whatever weird shit people are into, that's cool.
Yep. So yeah, that's all the releases for this week. It's a small list, but it's all devoted to the indies this week because we're about to be in hell on earth in 2 weeks. when those AAA titles start slamming us. Yeah.
Was it? What's today? What did we say today was the 8th? Is it
Today's
next week?
8th.
Next week's Elden Ring and Horizon?
No,
next week's Horizon. Elden.
Horizon's the week after.
Yep.
Days are hard.
Yeah, true.
Absolutely.
All right, so which of this week's releases have you most excited about purchasing? For me, it's going to be Sifu. But yep. Ollie World is another game that I like, another type of game that I like to play. So it'll probably wind up in my library soon.
Sifu for me, for sure. I had my eye on it, didn't really look too much into it, but it looked like something that may be up my alley. I do have a question. Do you write all of these descriptions? I really hope you do.
I do.
Oh,
that's why it takes so long for the show notes to get done. Because
it's very colorful.
I usually start them on Monday, and usually have it finished by Tuesday.
Interesting. See, that's a compliment. I thought you Googled them, but nope, you did it yourself, and it sounds wonderful.
It did sound like very official, right? Like it sounded like something the developers wrote.
I am a writer. Well, no. Some of this stuff is from the press kits.
Oh, so you're plagiarizing. Gotcha. You did not quote anything or cite any of your sources. I'm just saying.
Press
kits. No, but the synopsis. She wrote the synopsis, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's all. That's all I asked. I know you use other shit. You do cite
Jesus
that. To his credit, I know I'm a historian, so I'm the fucking citation police. I wanted to give you a backhanded compliment. Jesus.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Like I was impressed. I was like, man, this is very colorful.
Yeah,
I can almost see people fucking doing kickflips and shit.
Like most of the stuff from the game synopsis and stuff like are usually I get them from the press kits or from the write-ups from the actual websites of the developers and stuff like that. Other stuff in our show notes for people who want the behind the scenes stuff. Usually I write a lot of that stuff myself. I gotta flex the writing muscle. Like I call myself a writer and I am part of the Boss Rush writing team, even though I haven't written a single thing in like a month.
Just make up a topic. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, so what the glowing praises on seafood this week for everybody?
I'm kind of looking at Ollie Ollie World. I've been eyeballing this one for a little bit.
When I saw the preview of it at E3, I was like, oh man, like this looks kind of fun.
I'm probably gonna get it on Switch though.
Yeah.
Just because this seems like the perfect game to like pick up, play for a little bit, and put down type rather than sit down. When I sit down on my TV, I want like an epic experience, right? And I actually want something a little bit more in depth. But this is the perfect kind of game for just kind of sitting down and playing, I think. Sifu, I am somewhat interested in, but I think I'm gonna wait a little bit on this one personally. I think it's not something that catches my interest enough to go full price on. I'm probably gonna wait for a sale and play it there. But I saw somebody already did a speed run that was like 40 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes. Yeah,
which is crazy. But everybody seems to be pretty happy with it for the most part. And then I was looking at some of the Edge of Eternity stuff, and it looks like an older Final Fantasy type game, kind of
typical JRPG fare.
Yeah, it looked fine, but also. I mean, it's more of an indie RPG, right? Like it's not a full blown $60-$70 pop game, but doesn't look bad by any means.
Yeah, I believe it's. I didn't check the pricing on it, but I believe it's $30.
Yeah, it's at least on Steam it's $30, and it's been out on Steam for a while and has mostly positive reviews. So
yeah, if you're a JRPG fan, like you're probably always looking for games like that, but. I only play like the big ones because I just don't have. I want to play too many other games to spend hundreds of hours in each of these RPGs. But I know if this is what you play, this has got to be like you're just looking for these all the time. I'm sure. I agree with Brody though. I want Ollie Ollie, and my plan was to beat Uncharted and Lost Legacy before this game came out, so I could play Ollie Ollie before Horizon.
You really thought you could do this in a week? You really thought you could
slightly
done
behind.
Both those games in the week?
I'm almost done with one of them, and the other one's going to be shorter.
You so both of the games in the week.
I thought it was possible.
You should have called out from work. You should have called out from work the other day.
Well, here's the thing: is honestly, we went out for my birthday last weekend, and I thought I wasn't going to be out that long. I thought I was going to be home playing video games. But I ended up going out.
You sound like me in that dinner I went to last week when I was like, yeah, I have 2.5 hours before the show. Like I know I'll be home before then.
And then he went on an adventure, like you got abducted by hobbits and shit.
Pretty much.
No, well, we left at lunchtime, and we went to Barnes and Noble, and then I found a used bookstore on the way, and so then I was just like, it was gone. I was gone until like 8 or 9 o'clock.
Yeah, he had a lovely afternoon, is what he had.
Yeah,
is what it sounds like.
But otherwise, I planned on playing games, and I was like, wait, it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to bed now.
Yeah, but looks like members of our audience are also into Sifu as well.
I just pulled up the trailer. I might buy that before we're done here.
I think ultimately I'm gonna wait on that one. As a matter of fact, I'm waiting on both of these because I'm really not trying to like get really like ramped up into like all these new games that are getting released and stuff like that. Like, so I'm gonna have to pick and choose what I get on sales, what I get on first day, like day one. Like, technically, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection was day one, even though I just did the dual entitlement upgrade.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Yeah, but I'm like really picking and choosing like what I get because like this is going to be a loaded year and can't just be dropping like 30, 40, 45, 50, and 60 and $70, you know?
Yeah.
like a crazy
It adds
person.
up.
It does. I pre-ordered Horizon a while ago. I'm gonna pay. I need to pre-order Elden Ring because I'm gonna play that. I'm trying to figure out what I want to play it on. And honestly, I was kind of hoping Brody was gonna say he was gonna buy Seafood because then I was just gonna wait because eventually it'll be free like a month later.
This is true. That's typically how it works.
That's
if
like
I buy it, it's going on sale or something.
Yeah, he buys shit and it goes on sale, so I listen whenever he says he's buying things. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wait a couple weeks, see what happens.
Sounds like me and any Nintendo title.
Yeah, literally every time LeRon buys a Nintendo title.
Every time I buy a damn Nintendo title, it goes half off, like 4 days later.
Which is even more impressive because they hardly ever go on sale.
It's hardly ever go on sale. Yeah, like shit. Like
Which is why I need you to start buying more Nintendo games, LeRon, so I can start getting that price.
No, sir. What I do now is I have somebody gift them to me. So like this one, yeah. Notice this hasn't gone on sale yet.
Yeah. But no, seriously,
that one's pretty fun though.
Yeah, I played that. I played that on the 3DS when it came out. I liked that game.
It's pretty good.
Let's see if we can cheat the system. Just buy it and don't open it for like 2 weeks and see if it goes on sale, and then you can return it.
Or buy it, open it, and tell them you didn't play it, and you can totally try to return it. Try that at GameStop. I hear it works.
Actually, it does now. It does now. They're so afraid of getting negative feedbacks now that they basically bend the knee to a lot of bullshit.
Oh, I had somebody. I did a feedback once, not a bad one, but one of my buddies who was still working there at the time had me fill one out, and they read it on a conference call. I used the word service quite a lot. I want to say one of the lines was, I appreciated how well he serviced me.
Oh, God.
That's the line that they read on the conference call. And these guys like reading all this. We got this glowing review. He provides exceptional service.
Jeez.
And that was my payback. Fuck you, GameStop. You can steal that $40. Who was my boss?
On that note, we will go ahead.
At least you're not bitter.
On that note, we will go ahead and move on. All right, guys. So I got a serious question for you. Did you guys catch the state of plays last week?
I skimmed them.
Skimmed them? Okay, skim is good. Yes. Austin's nodding his head, and Chris is definitely.
Nope, I was on vacation, and I fear my wife more than you. No bullshit.
Let me be clear. I watched the Gran Turismo one. I tuned in for the Ghostwire Tokyo one, but I didn't want to be spoiled on a ton of things, so I bounced out pretty quickly.
Okay.
But once
That's
I
what
saw
I'm
what the game looked like and stuff, I was out.
Hey, Chris, go ahead and give us your plugs now, because this is your final episode of Crossroads.
Wait, what did I do?
You said you fear your wife more than you fear me.
I do.
Dang.
So I know what I have to do now. I have to get on Hannah's good side, and that way I have free access to you whenever I want. That's what has to happen.
That sounds frightening and tantalizing.
I imagine she's like standing in the doorway, just looking at him right now. Just go ahead, say it, Chris. Do it.
Say something. Bitch, dare you?
All right, so
we're gonna a lot.
So we're gonna go through some highlights of the state of plays from last week, which were for Gran Turismo 7 and Ghostwire Tokyo. By the way, the Ghostwire Tokyo one was kind of like sprung on us. Like we weren't expecting it to happen, and it just showed up.
Yeah, it was just there.
Yeah. So starting off with Gran Turismo 7, you know what? I wrote a bunch of notes on this. I'm just gonna skim them though. Starting off with Gran Turismo 7 though, GT7 is just under a month from releasing, which comes out on March the 4th. And Sony kicked off the game's marketing blitz last week with a half-hour state of play the video, which was dedicated to the title. It was nearly 30 minutes long. The state of play was held by Gran Turismo creator Kazunori Yamauchi, who doesn't just love cars, he worships them. All right. So I got this information from our friends over at pushsquare.com, as well as Video Games Chronicle. Uh, for Yamauchi, this is more than just a racing game. It's a car life simulator. And if you were worried that the series may have lost some of its quirkiness over the time, then rest assured, it's a return to reform that Gran Turismo has endured for 25 years and just kept it at the top of its genre because there's nothing else quite like it. And you can feel Kazunori's fingerprints all over this title. It's being pitched as the best Gran Turismo through the ages and is shaping up to be a compellingly comprehensive package. All right. So for the people who did actually check it out, give me some of your impressions on it.
So I have to preface this all by saying I'm not a huge Gran Turismo guy.
Okay.
One, I was not a huge PlayStation guy in the past, but I have come around to it, obviously. But I also am not a huge like simulation racer. Like if I'm playing, I used to really love that kind of stuff, and I kind of got out of it. But I now at this point I kind of more enjoy just like a fun racing game, or like some of the more quirky stuff, or even like the open world things. Like I played quite a bit of Forza Horizon 5, right? But I gotta say, I mean, this is gorgeous looking, and for what this game is doing, I think it is going to excel. I think it is going to absolutely kill it, and this series sells way more than what you would ever imagine, especially for being like a simulation racing game. And I mean, like they're saying, this is going to be the best Gran Turismo through the ages, and I don't doubt that at all. I mean, everything about it looks gorgeous. The design of even like the map system and everything that they have is fantastic. Like they're doing a lot of really cool stuff here, and I mean, the cars are just wild looking, how realistic they are, and even from looking inside while you're driving the car is just incredibly detailed, and you can tell that they're very passionate about what they're doing, and that they poured everything into designing these to be as realistic and lifelike as they can.
Yeah, for real. Like just the whole like the map island. That is probably the sickest feature I've seen in Gran Turismo. Now, I will say it looks like it was definitely influenced by other simulation games, and stuff like that. But that's besides the point, because the fact that it basically looks like like you just have a place to like live and thrive in. It's just amazing in my opinion. And that map basically serves as the hub for the single player experience for the game. Built in with dealerships where you can purchase cars, tune them, compete against the AI, and there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on there. Of course, the license tests are back, and you got the new mission-based drag race challenges, as well as like the drift challenge, which I haven't played a Gran Turismo game in a while. Have they been doing drift challenges? The last one I played was 4, and there was no drift challenge in 4.
I would say Sport definitely had it, and I don't remember if 6 might have had it, but Sport definitely did.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, and Sport, right. I hate drift challenges in every game, so that's the one thing I hate doing.
I hate them too, because in all honesty, I've never drifted a car in real life, but I know for sure that drifting in a video game does not feel like how drifting would be in real life. So I've never gotten it. The best I can do is hard drift around corners, and actually get the bonus points that you get when you pull off a perfect drift. But that's about it. Like when it's actual drift challenges where he's like, man, I don't know. Maybe the DualSense controller helped me get better at drifting. Maybe.
I'm very excited.
You've never played any Gran Turismo?
No. I haven't played a Gran Turismo game since Gran Turismo 3 on the PS2.
Okay.
You said car life simulator, and my mind immediately went, oh, dude driving like a Ford Escape, taking his kid to play care. That's my kind of thing. Get me on that simulator. Which button is the SWAT one?
This is the SWAT one.
And I SWAT my...
Yeah, sure did.
Guitar. I don't think you understand the anxiety that just gave me. It's my favorite one too. It's pretty. But no, I appreciate them. I like racing games. Burnout Paradise is one of my favorite games ever.
Yeah, I'm definitely an arcade racer.
I missed the state of play, but I have seen stuff on Gran Turismo 7, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful game. They've always been really, really pretty games, and there's part of why people like them so much.
Yeah, like the game looks great. Even the earlier stuff that we saw, like back when we thought it was coming out last year, even the earlier stuff looked impressive. Even though it was definitely like it was basically not so much stock footage, but like that footage they give you that says, hey, the game is coming, look at this, but yeah, let's see. With this game, going back to the write-up. Let's see. Music also plays a key role in this game. With is it polyphony or polyphony?
Polyphony.
Polyphony. Okay. Polyphony Digital once again leaning heavily into lounge tunes that define the series. The lounge tune thing that started in what, GT4, right? Because remember when the soundtracks used to be like actual licensed games for the licensed music for the most part, like and it was like really like remember. Okay, Austin, you might remember this. Remember popping in Gran Turismo 2 and hearing My Favorite Mistake by the Cardigans.
I remember always having the lounge music.
Okay.
Since GT2. Except for the Oh Yeah song that they play during the tutorials, of course, which I think is in every one of them. But I honestly just remember the lounge type music being in all of them, if I remember correctly. But
okay, because I remember everything. I've been playing. I was playing since the very first one. I played GT 1, 2, 3, 4, and then skipped everything. And I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about GT 7. Who knows at this point? But according to this, there'll be 75 artists and over 300 tracks in the game, and you'll be able to pair replays with certain songs, with the camera transitioning dynamically to the beat of the music. That's kind of cool, actually. That is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Meanwhile, I took my glasses off and I couldn't see for a second. Meanwhile, an entirely new mode named Music Rally will introduce checkpoint-based drives, where the emphasis is less on racing but more on enjoying your car and the soundtrack. So basically, you got like a Sunday driver mode, basically.
That's the
there you
mode
go.
I was in.
There you go, Chris.
There we go. Does it come complete with a child that tells me because he doesn't love me I need that? That's a requirement.
Just sit your real child behind you.
Just don't have him stand behind me behind the
couch.
I'm still floored that somebody knew a Cardigan song that wasn't Loveful. I had no idea that they did another song or had more music until right in this second.
Oh wow!
I don't know why I don't remember licensed music. For some reason, I just don't remember it at all.
Let me see. The very first Gran Turismo had "Are You Gonna Go My Way" by Lenny Kravitz, "Paranoid" by Garbage.
That's what I'm looking at now. Like Garbage is in here. The second one is Garbage, Filter, Foo Fighters, Crystal Method, Stone Temple Pilots. All these bands that I listen to.
Is this game coming out in 1998?
No. We're talking about Gran Turismo 1.
Well, 2.
My bad. I thought he was talking. So
that was 2.
So was I right? Did it come out in 1998?
Probably not too far off.
Very possible that's when it came out.
I missed because we were talking about music for Gran Turismo 7, so I got disconnect there, and I was like, "What the fuck's happening?"
Gran Turismo 2 released December 11th, 1999.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah,
I ballparked the fuck out of that one.
Yeah, 98 sounded too early. I was like, 98 sounds a little too early. Because I couldn't remember for sure when I was playing it. I thought it was a 2000 game, but yeah.
I think most of that music came out in 98.
Yeah. With Gran Turismo 7, Yamauchi is promising the best simulation that Polyphony Digital has ever created. And also, because a lot of the information that I've gotten for this show tonight was based off the PS5 version, as well as what we saw in the State of Play, which was also promoting the PS5 version. In terms of PS5 specific features, Yamauchi also highlighted the 3D audio, which is and how Sony's using and how is using Sony's fanciest Tempest audio engine to accurately render the position of sounds. It's also using the haptic feedback to extend the sensory experience. Haptic feedback for the DualSense controller, that is, with what it calls sub. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. I got ahead of myself. Haptic feedback from if you have those nice Sony headsets. The haptic feedback to extend the sensory experience with what is called sub audio vibrations. Effectively, the DualSense controller will capture and render frequencies below what the ears can hear, allowing you to feel those vibrations in your hand. So there's something to chew on with that. Here goes some of the other key features that Gran Turismo 7 includes. We've got the Gran Turismo World, which is the extended map that we talked about, which will feature locations such as driving missions, license tests, used car dealership, the World Circuits, Gran Turismo Cafe, legendary car dealership, tuning shop, and much, much more. Another feature is tracks, time of day, and weather. At the launch, Gran Turismo 7 will officially contain over 34 locations and over 90 layouts of tracks, which will host over 100 race events. Now, remember, like some of these tracks are the exact same tracks, except you run them in reverse. So don't think it's all unique. Tracks will all have limited time and weather transitions, featuring morning to evening time progression and weather that can cycle between sunny and cloudy. Wet weather will only be available on some specific tracks, with the rain affecting both the surface moisture and temperature, and will account for in the physics model. And here's something that people will be happy about. Unlike GT Sport, it won't be permanent weather either. Yamauchi has said that the drying line, it also affects vehicle handling. So get ready. Hope you got good tires. Graphics modes featured in the game. Graphics modes featured in the game include the frame rate mode, which is used for gameplay that runs at 60 frames per second and does not feature ray tracing, while the ray tracing mode is used for race replays, 3D stages, and the photo mode. I already spoke about the 3D spatial audio and haptic feedbacks. There's also the tuning mode, which that's a classic staple of Gran Turismo. That's also the reason why I stopped playing the game. You've also got the music replay and music rally mode, which I also mentioned, and there's much, much more ahead for that. All right, to close off Gran Turismo 7, let's just say, based off everything that I've read and everything I've seen, Gran Turismo 7 has no clear ending. Yamauchi has stated that I believe GT7 is the type of game where people will get a lot of mileage and discover a new way to play it, even a year down the line. He said a year. I think he should have been more.
Yeah, year's not super flattering.
Well, okay. So one thing we learned about after State of Play, like I just saw the news. This was it yesterday or maybe today? Is that expect DLC for the game. We don't know if it's paid DLC or free DLC, but expect DLC for the game. They've got a whole bunch of new stuff that they're going to be adding to the game, but we don't know what it is just yet.
Yeah. I mean, Gran Turismo Sport was even adding cars up till. I think they still add stuff now in Gran Turismo Sport because the dedicated fan base. So I'm very excited to dig into this game. I love the museum mode that they got going on too as well. They said this is going to be the most in-depth museum where like you're going to be able to read like literal books on each of these cars and like the manufacturers and stuff like that, which is cool.
The manufacturers. As a matter of fact, that was one thing they said. Like some of the actual designers will actually like wrote up things for their cars, like actual designers of the particular model of the car and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember who they highlighted. It was somebody from Porsche that had like he personally like did a write up for one of the vehicles featured in the game.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna dive.
I will say this.
I'm gonna dive in.
I will say this. Polyphony Digital, they are masters at attention to detail. Like this is a game. This is a game that car people will love. And when I say car people, I'm talking about people who truly appreciate cars and appreciate every facet of a vehicle and stuff like that. It's second to none, honestly. And like I said earlier, I'm more into arcade racing games now than simulation. But there was a time when I was hardcore about Gran Turismo. I played I didn't get Gran Turismo 1 when it came out when it was launched. But once I found out about Gran Turismo and me and a buddy we actually played it. We were in like a race league and everything. We were like copying like our ratios and our gear settings and everything, and submitting them to online leagues and stuff like that, and putting ourselves in challenges and stuff like that. And then GT2, GT3, and GT4 had those on launch. That's how hardcore I was until I wasn't hardcore anymore. A little game called Burnout got my attention, and you know what? It's like, oh, I don't have to like tune these cars and stuff. All I have to do is drive through an auto shop, and it gets tuned for me.
I mean, Burnout 3 is still my favorite racing game of all time. It's not even close for me, but I do enjoy a Gran Turismo every once in a while, just to play through, get that real experience. Yeah. Nothing will ever beat Road Rage in Burnout for me. Like, nothing will ever beat that mode. I love that mode so much.
I think one of the craziest things about this is the fact that they did this direct and then they're just kind of like, hey, this is coming out in like a month. Because if I remember correctly, I don't think we had a release date for this prior to this, right?
We didn't have a definitive release date. As a matter of fact, they first whispered that Gran Turismo 7 and Horizon Forbidden West will be coming out at the same time. I think initially like Gran Turismo was supposed to be out in July and Horizon was supposed to be out in September or October.
Mm-hmm.
And then both those games got pushed, and then began the whole thing of is Gran Turismo 7 even coming out, because like Gran Turismo games after Gran Turismo 4, they were notoriously known for not coming out on time.
Yeah.
And when I say not coming out on time, I mean like 2 years later.
All right, plus, let's go. VR stuff's gonna be cool whenever that comes out too.
Which they didn't mention anything about during the state of play. Honestly, they there was like a little. Yeah. Well, no. It's been hinted at that VR is coming to Gran Turismo, but they didn't speak anything about it. Like it was in actual write-ups after the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to Ghostwire Tokyo real fast, because I think this will be a little bit quicker than the Gran Turismo stuff was. All right, so Ghostwire Tokyo, their state of play happened the following day. That was what was that? February.
That would have been the 3rd.
That was the 3rd. Yeah, February 3rd. Thank you. All right, Ghostwire Tokyo has hints of Resident Evil 4 in it. From the sharp combat to the comical merchants, everything that Shinji Mikami was known for with Resident Evil 4 is all that winning formula appears to be back in full form here in Ghostwire Tokyo. Ghostwire feels like the kind of smart genre reboot that Resident Evil was known for. Like once Resident Evil, because we technically had that in Code Veronica, then we had another reboot in 4, then we had another reboot in 6, now we have 7. Like there's so much going on and basically Ghostwire Tokyo, basically from the father of Resident Evil, it looks to be that way. In Ghostwire Tokyo, the setting is undeniably captivating. You start in is the abandoned Tokyo Shibuya district, which has been mysteriously filled with demons and ghouls under the direction of a masked villain. Players control Akito, a protagonist who manifests supernatural powers after he's fused with another character called KK, who is a mysterious ghost hunter who's become a spirit. Together, the pair must find out what's happened to Tokyo and defeat the mysterious villain Hanaya? Okay. Yeah.
Sounds great.
I guess as good as mine.
Yeah. Most intriguing from the gameplay that we watched was the character and variety on show. The same ingredients was made Shinji Mikami's Resident Evil 4 a cold hard classic. Players explore a city that feels dense and believable, and the character hunting ghosts through apartment interiors and even on rooftops. As Akito, players fire supernatural projectiles with their hands at various headless schoolgirls and spooky salarymen patrolling the streets. I kid you not, I kid you not. It's schoolgirls with no heads.
Yeah.
Apparitions. The main objective, though, is to extract enemies' cores after they've weakened. This is done by holding down the L2 button to slowly rip foes apart with the rolls of a supernatural string. Like that was really cool. Actually, when I saw that, that was really cool. I'm sorry, Austin. I know you didn't watch it.
I watched part of it.
Did you see that part? Did you see that part?
I think I know which part you're talking about because I will tell you the action in this game looks awesome. Like I'm 100% down for this game.
Yeah. In Ghostwire Tokyo, not all of the supernatural creatures in Tokyo are foes. Spirits known as yokai, which is a class of spirits from Japanese folklore, are also located around the city in the form of magical tanuki and other animals, who give the player new abilities and guidance throughout the game. There's also another all-time classic Shinji Mikami mechanic, which is the shopkeeper. What are you buying? This one will be in the form of a magical floating cat who will sell keto items from behind the counter of a local convenience store. I wonder that they didn't actually. I can't remember if I actually saw it, but I wonder if it's going to be like the waving cat.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
I just hope he rolls like the guy at Resident Evil 8, the shopkeeper too. Like he just rolls from the front to the back of his little wagon thing.
Isn't the waving cat more of like a Chinese thing rather than Japanese?
You know, you might be right.
I've only ever seen them in like Chinese restaurants. That's the only reason I say that. I have no clue, but just going out on a limb.
Forgive me to our listeners out there that I may have insulted. I'm just a stupid gaijin.
I'm actually excited for this one. Sorry, I had to step out. My child is having a full-on meltdown, so I'm going to keep this going as long as I can. I'm actually excited about this game. I like the Resident Evil games. I like the scary aspect to it, so it's pretty exciting. Mm-hmm. I know I'm like super random here, but I wanted to say something.
Okay. All right. So speaking of Gran Turismo 7, this is mainly for our audience, but you guys can chime in as well. Are you excited about what we've seen of the Gran Turismo 7 so far, given that it's coming out in less than 30 days now?
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks cool. I'm probably not going to pick it up personally, but I think it looks really good.
I think it looks great as well. Like the one thing I loved about they went into so much detail talking about the ray tracing mode that you really have to appreciate like the level of detail they put in the game alone, because you know what, there's nothing like going outside and seeing like a freshly washed and detailed car and stuff like that, and seeing like the reflections, the way the light hits and stuff like that. So that ray tracing mode, like that's going to be a real spectacle for console gamers. You know, I'll say that it's going to be a real spectacle, because like this is not just going to be a whole bunch of like light tricks like a whole bunch of other games like Cyberpunk 2077. Like, yeah, we saw reflections on the ground, you know, wet ground with puddles and stuff like that, but we really didn't see them on cars and stuff like that with ray tracing stuff on, you know. Mm-hmm. But with this, like, you're actually going to see something that's close to life, you know. And I think that's going to be something really cool that gamers are going to be able to experience and appreciate. Does Ghostwire Tokyo look like the next direction for survival horror gaming? I personally feel like it's a hybrid of what we've already seen, what's come before, because, you know, like Resident Evil 4 kicked the doors off with like, you know, like first person. Well, actually, no. Resident Evil 7 kicked the doors off of first person horror, even though other games had done it, you know. But it seems like Resident Evil 7 is where like it just got realized and became a thing, you know. And I'm not trying to like, you know, like blow Resident Evil 7 up because I haven't even played it.
I almost got more like BioShock vibes in a way from this, to like, you know, just the way like, I don't know, the art style was way different than what I expected from what we originally saw from it, and it almost has that like kind of BioShock feel to it. I definitely see what you're saying with the Resident Evil 4 stuff, but this as like you can see just like your hands, you know, in one hand, like when you said something about him like taking the soul type of deal. That was almost reminded me of
all about BioShock. I forgot all about BioShock.
Yeah. Which actually makes me more likely to get this because I'm more of a BioShock fan than I am a Resident Evil fan. So I'm actually interested in this, especially like it seems like it will have spooky, almost like thriller type things, but it's not going to be your jump scare. Like it didn't seem like it had that type of vibe either, you know?
Yeah. The BioShock guy of the show is very quiet.
I mean, I'm just really excited. I didn't think about the BioShock vibe. I just like the idea of like, I know like people really like the Shang-Chi movie, and like, you know, I just like how the hands are doing the Naruto thing where it's just like constantly just moving around. Like, I think that's so cool. That's something we haven't seen in a game that I can remember. Like, I don't remember a first person like it, like there's no weapons. It seems like it's all just based on your hands, which is really cool.
It's like your hands are the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so that to me I think is the cool part. I don't like Evil Within and Evil Within 2, and so I was a little worried about this game being for me, but just watching the gameplay, like what the art style is like, totally my thing. I'm definitely down. I love all the colors that are popping out. Like it just seems like you're fighting a ton of different enemies. It kind of gives me some Scarlet Nexus feels with some of like just the weird enemy types.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm totally down for this game. Like it's a little weird because we went from like not talking about it at all to being it's out next month. And it's also a little weird that like this technically wasn't a state of play. It was just an official showcase for this game.
Yeah.
They worded it weird, and so I don't know if that's
they did word it weird because it does say state of play.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if it's because it's like the Bethesda thing. Like maybe I don't know if they're just trying to get this game out at this point. But it seems like the marketing for this game has not been huge.
Really. It was very strange. Yeah, like we got a tidbit about it. There was a bunch of hype around it, and then they completely went radio silent for a year and a half almost. Yeah, just nothing. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, by the way, this is coming out like next month. You're like,
yeah, because it was shocking because we didn't even see anything from it at E3. Like, you know, like it was announced. It was announced a year ago. You know, for the PlayStation highlight either right when the PS5 was coming out or right after the PS5 came out. It was in a highlight show, and then we didn't see anything else of it because, of course, you know, the Bethesda deal happened with Microsoft.
They did something in September because I've seen this game before. Yeah, they've talked about this at least once before. They did it at a state of play. They at least ran a trailer because I saw this. That's why I know about it. It was Game Awards. After I came on. It wasn't the Game Awards.
It wasn't Game Awards.
It wasn't. It was back in like September.
Okay.
Chris is right. There was a time they did show it, but we did not see nearly enough, and there was still no date for it. And for all we know, it could have been like in the summer. It could have been next year or like August, September, like when Deathloop came out last year. That's all we really knew. And now to be like, hey, here's the Gran Turismo State of Play, which is a big thing, 30 minutes of it, and then like 2 hours later, just like, hey, we're going to do a Ghostwire Tokyo thing tomorrow. And honestly, I missed it because I just kind of like checked out of games that day, like in like, Games Media and stuff. And then like the next day, people were like, oh, did you see Ghostwire Tokyo? I was like, no, I did not know that was the thing. Like I totally missed it. So
yeah, I think the original announcement was Game Awards, maybe. Is that correct? The year before last, obviously not this past year, but I was thinking it was either that or it could have been other than that, I'm not sure. But for some reason, it's sticking out that Game Awards was when it was announced. But you know, regardless, it was
Game Awards because I see this as a game that Jeff Keighley would have had like a nerd boner about.
Oh yeah, this is fucking Jeff this Keighley. Is kind of Kojima-esque. Right?
I could have swore that it was actually the PS5 launch. Like I think it got announced the same day as Deathloop. Like a couple of years ago.
That's what I'm thinking too, but you know, like Who
I
knows?
can't remember when it was.
All we know is like the ad campaign for this game has been kind of skewed.
Yeah, like I said, I've only seen it the one time. Like Austin said, I was right. Austin said I was right.
But when it got released, it was totally different than what we're seeing now. Because all it was like this. It was like kind of like a navy blue, white, and everything was kind of like silhouetted. And that's all we really knew about this game until we got whatever came out in like August, September, I think.
It was just a trailer.
June 2019 at the Bethesda conference at E3 was when this was originally announced. But it was like this super short snippet, like nothing even close to what this like actually is really. I mean, they showed like a headless dude and that was about it. And then you're like, okay, so what's this? What are we doing here?
Right.
He's a headless guy. It's clearly Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, obviously.
So it looks like the bulk of us, as far as like which game we're more interested in. It looks like the bulk of us were more interested in Ghostwire Tokyo than Gran Turismo. Not saying that we're not interested in Gran Turismo. It's just more like we're gonna get Ghostwire before we get Gran Turismo.
Right.
I'll be getting them both. But I'm more likely to finish this game than I ever will finish Gran Turismo 7. That's for sure.
Well, nobody beats Gran Turismo 7. That's the thing about it. Like that game has no end.
Yeah, you can play it for a full year.
It just shuts off at the end.
Yeah, you have a year to play it, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then you trade it in and get the newer model. It's just like real cars. Get at me when they get that edition. I'm down.
Just a bunch of minivans and crossovers. Like, hell yeah.
All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and move on to our final news topic for the night. And this is a good one. Jade Raymond's Studio Haven has tripled in size and is looking to push the PS5 with their debut title. The reason why I say push is because apparently we found out recently that the studio actually had pitched 3 titles that they want to make for PlayStation. And Sony was like, "This is cool and all." But actually, no, it wasn't Sony. They're like, "We want to pitch these," and Sony was like, "Sure, let's do it." And they're like, "Wait, you know what? Let's make one top tier title first, and then come back to those other ones." This info is coming to us from David Carcassole at PSU, as well as Rebecca Smith at PlayStationLifestyle.net. When Haven Studios was announced, it caused quite a stir as a studio to watch. That line of thinking has only gotten more true as the game goes on, with Haven now having tripled in size as they work towards launching their debut title on PS5 and PC. In a recent interview with 2 of the studio's founders, that being Jade Raymond and Pierre-Francois Sapinski, they both talk about the studio's expansion and how they were originally asked to do more than one project to start and their debut project itself. While this is definitely all exciting and everything, it's not surprising to hear that they've expanded so much, especially as they've been pulling top talent straight from Ubisoft more than once. Also of note is that Raymond, Paula, I'm not even going to attempt to try and pronounce that name. And Sapinski has revealed in another interview that the game was one of 3 pitched to Sony, who then offered to fund all of them, as I was saying a moment ago, but not one to overwork themselves. Haven decided to concentrate on just one of them instead. At the end of the day, the studio has just 25 members at the time of the interview, which includes the 5 founders and 20 former Google employees. And there's a limit to what there's a limit to what a team of that size can realistically achieve at once. Whether the other 2 projects will ever see the light of day remains to be seen. What we do know is that this project will be an online-focused endeavor and will broaden PlayStation's online service-based game offerings. But that's pretty much all we know for now. But side note, the heads of the studio said they also want to work beside Mark Cerny for some game-changing, I think they said games as a service type deal. So hey, we're getting that territory that that Bungie's pulled in with Sony.
Yeah, I mean, shortly after that whole Bungie acquisition, or announcement, I guess. It's not finalized yet, but they said that they want 10 live service games by the end of 20 or in the next 4 years, I believe is what it was.
Yeah. I think it was 2020. I think it was 2028 is what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I would not doubt that this is definitely one of those, especially the way they are leaning into the online focused. I also think it is very wise for them to pull off of 3 projects and just go to one, because as a new studio, especially a relatively small studio,
don't
like
overstretch yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, even though you have a powerful name like Jade Raymond, and a nice group of people from Ubisoft as well as Google from the Stadia team and all that stuff, don't just swing for the fences, and overextend yourself.
And it's a very eclectic group of people. Like Jade Raymond obviously has been very, very successful in what she has done. But some of the talent from Ubisoft is an interesting pull. And then that of Google Stadia employees, probably from the defunct Stadia studio that they had at one point in time. It seems like it could be very interesting, and I'm curious what they're going to push. But I'm also like, it seems like it's kind of disconjointed, right? Like when you have not even announced a title for a game and you're like, hey, we have 3 projects in the work and we're a studio of 25 people. It's like, slow your roll a little bit and focus really on like one, and then impress everybody with that one. And then you can pump out the other 2 after that. Like,
you know what, here's what I'll say. Like Sony does a good job of not being hands off, Yeah. Like they've been doing that. They've been doing that for a while now, and it seems to work out well. So I kind of feel like there was possibly like some like Sony was like, hey, well, like we'll fund your 3 games, but you gotta stick to one first.
Yeah, and on top of that, Sony has a lot of good assist studios, like studios that they use just kind of to help things along, and
for example.
Yeah, they have at least probably 4 or 5 of them that they use on various different projects. At least there may even be more than that. But I'm not surprised to see that, and I would not be surprised to know that they're at least getting help for one of those studios, if not 2, and just to get this moving. Especially as something like this comes out, it seems like they're definitely trying to build hype around this. Granted, I'm holding my hype until I see what this actually is, personally.
I hear you. Austin, Chris, any words?
I don't particularly know too much on the topic. I'm not too learned on it, so I'm excited to see if anybody is going to do new stuff. Mm. I'm getting ready to turn into a pumpkin, dude. It's getting late. We all know 9:30 the Leons start.
I'm in agreement with you guys. Like I'm glad that they focused the team on one game, and specifically because this isn't a total diss to like Jade Raymond and the people from Google Stadia, but they also worked on a bunch of things and then never came out with anything. So it's probably good that they focused on one and just get something under their feet. Because I can't remember. I think I looked up when they made this deal with Jade Raymond, like what was the last game she worked on? I think it was like Watch Dogs 1, like that came out.
Damn, that.
If I can remember correctly, like it's been a while since she's had a game she worked on come out. So
shit, I built my first gaming PC around that game. Damn.
In the last 5 years, she has been in 4 different places at least. Yeah, I mean, she's been moving around like crazy. So, and that I agree. Like, there's been a lot of announced projects, and they keep using her name as that big key point. Like, hey, Jade Raymond's working on this, but not in a bad way. But it's kind of starting to lose its luster to some extent, just because it is this thing of every time we hear this, the project gets canceled.
What was it? Wait, what was the game that put her on the map?
Oh,
well,
she's working on a lot.
Was it Beyond Good and Evil?
She worked on Assassin's Creed. I think
Assassin's Creed was a big one for her.
Yeah. But she's almost got the same thing as like Amy Hennig to me now, unfortunately, where like every time I hear Amy Hennig's working on a game, I'm like, is it going to come out?
She worked on The Sims Online, Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Bloodline, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Blacklist, Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed Unity, Far Cry 3, The Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, and Star Wars Battlefront 2. So she is definitely credited as one of the like big reasons Assassin's Creed worked as well as it did, especially in the early years before it, got a little bit off its
became what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
It came back around.
Yeah. We got there, but it took some time. But yeah, she was definitely credited for Assassin's Creed as being like one of, a huge interval part of what was going on there.
Mm-hmm.
But
so like Battlefront 2, which came out 2017. Is that about when it came out? So that was 5 years. So it's been 5 years since she's really had anything, which is not bad, but I don't even think she was that big of a role on Battlefront 2. If I remember correctly.
I don't think so either.
So it's probably like Far Cry 3 being like the last big game that she had a big part of. That's a long time.
I was in New Jersey when that game came out. 2011.
All right, so one question here, and we can roll to our big topic after this. Is it time to get hype for Studio Haven? And for their upcoming release, I should say, is something we don't know anything about.
No. I'm personally, I'm in the spot where I feel like I'm becoming jaded. Forgive the pun. To the point of like, we got burned on Cyberpunk, right? And this hype around the game industry, just all it is to promote pre-order sales, and it doesn't lead to anything good. I personally, I've been trying to get out of that, right? Like I get caught up in hype around games just like everybody else does. And I've been trying to get past that point of like pre-ordering things and all of that, because it seems like we've been getting burned more lately by various different developers, different games. I mean, Battlefield 2042 was a game I was stoked for, and that game absolutely fucking sucks.
So disappointing.
Did they ever fix that?
The game went free to play.
All right, they're talking about making it free to play. They haven't even fixed the.
Let's put it this way. Like 3 weeks after the game released, like Steam was already allowing full refunds, and Steam only gives refunds after 14 days.
Yeah. Do you want to hear a terrible thing? It's so bad that even the hacker community doesn't want any part of it. They're not even on it. They're not even making hacks for it. It's so bad. Like,
they just announced that the scoreboard update has been pushed back. Like a update to fix their scoreboard.
They don't have
been delayed.
They don't have a
twice.
That was the thing.
Right.
They never even had it.
Right. Exactly.
I feel like that's pretty basic. Like,
yep.
They mastered that like in the 90s.
They mastered that in like Bad Company. Or probably even 1942, right? Like they've had scoreboards for a long time. This is not a new thing, but it is absolutely fucking them up over there, and they can't figure it out. So I don't know.
The other thing to think about, and this is why I'm not excited about this yet, is Sony didn't buy Haven. Like they're still their own thing. And so if Sony bought Haven, I'd be like, okay.
Sony's backing them. Yeah.
Right. It's like Insomniac a few years ago, right?
That abandoned game. And that is a shit show. So, like, I just, like, I don't know if unless Sony, like, buys them, I'll be like, okay, so they really believe in this studio and they're really believing what's in it and they're going to make something. Like, I have more faith that something's going to come out from there. If it's just something they're partnered with, it's like, I guess so. I guess it's coming out.
I think even if they did buy them, I still don't think that's quite enough to get me excited for this yet. I mean, I want to see a title. I want to see a trailer. I want to see gameplay. I want to see something other than like, hey, Jade Raymond's here. Like, I need more than that.
By excitement, I don't even mean like being hyped for it. I just mean that like, I'll believe like a game might actually come out now like for right now, like
Yeah.
I don't even know if a game's ever going to come out from this. Like this is just
Right.
This could be another wild situation. This could be like
Yeah.
it could be anything at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, then. All right, we're gonna go ahead and close out this topic and get ready to move on to our big topic for the night. But before that, we should go ahead and say goodbye to Chris.
Yep, 10 o'clock. I got to roll. All right, before I roll out, you can catch me over on Twitter at RealChrisTrue because I love myself. You can also catch me every other Wednesday with my buddy here, Brody, on Dad Pod with Justin and Dom. You can also send us cool stuff on Twitter. We like to engage from time to time.
All right, cool. All right, man. You have a good night, man. It's always good hanging out with you whenever you decide to hang out with us. But yeah.
Hey, that wasn't my fault. I'm on a strict schedule.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, bye guys.
All right, have a good night, man. All right, and then there were 3. All right, now the riffraff's out the way.
I'm just picturing Chris just like looking like Riff Raff. If you don't know who the rapper Riff Raff is,
oh God, there's a name I haven't heard in a while. Holy shit!
I couldn't imagine Chris looking like Riff Raff. That'd be hilarious to me. He's gonna have to get the the dreads and everything.
The white boy cornrows.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you ready for this? The big topic. You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I feel like this is what we came here for tonight, and for this particular episode of Crossroads, I feel like it is. All right, so I got to ask everybody out there, how happy are you with the free PlayStation Plus games that are being offered these days? Go.
So I think recently they have been pretty good. For the most part, they offer a pretty wide variety of things, and not too long ago they gave away, what was it, the Re-Reckoning, Awakening, or whatever the hell that is. I can't remember. I haven't even played it yet, but I have it sitting in my library, right? And I think, especially if you compare them to something like Xbox right now, I mean, their games or their free PlayStation Plus games are absolutely blowing it out of the water. This last month for Xbox, I don't even think I've heard of any of the games they gave away. So that's kind of where we're at.
No, honestly, why would they do that when they give away the premium stuff on Game Pass?
Right. Well, that's exactly why you gotta subscribe, man. You gotta pay that $10 to $15 a month. And but personally, this month is a little dull for me. Planet Coaster, I feel, is a game that is better played on a PC. That is a hard game to do anything on with a controller, personally.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, Planet Coaster was even the one that was designed for console, but any sort of game like that doesn't seem to work very well on a console with a controller. I think that is something that is better suited for PC. EA Sports UFC 4, okay, cool. I don't know. I feel like it's another EA game, right? Like we're just keep pumping them out. It's not that much different than 3. I personally can jump in and play maybe a couple rounds of this, and then I will never touch it again. But I will say I am excited to play Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, especially with that game upcoming next month. Their actual oh God. Whatever the game's called, I'm completely drawing a blank at the moment, but the Tiny Tina Borderlands game that is coming, because this was a standalone DLC that they offered, and people seem to really, really enjoy this. It is kind of odd for it to be one of the free games just because it is a standalone DLC, but at the same time, I understand it from a marketing perspective because obviously they're trying to hype up the new game coming out. So I personally don't think this was a bad showing necessarily. I just don't think it was so much a showing for me other than Tiny Tina's.
I will say this. I feel like overall, like the Planet Coaster, the EA Sports UFC 4, and Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. I feel like they were checking boxes for diversity.
Yeah.
We got a sports title in here. We don't always get sports titles.
We hardly ever get them, really.
Yeah. We have a sim title. It's not Civ 6, by any stretch, but we have a sim title. And then we have Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, which yeah, I'm about to get into it in a second, but we have like a shooter,
Yeah.
This is a pretty well-rounded selection of games, as far as like variety, for content. Now I understand, and like I said, I'm about to get into it. I understand where a lot of disappointment was, especially on the internet, because when February's free PlayStation Plus games were announced, many PlayStation Plus subscribers were immediately unhappy with the offering. Now, many subscribers are even more unhappy. Now, many subscribers are even more unhappy because of this. If you missed the opportunity, if you missed the announcement, which we spoke about last week, we got Planet Coaster, UFC 4, and Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. They're all available right now. Add them to your library. You don't have to download them, just add them to your library. All right. The former, the Planet Coaster is the PS5 offering, which, yeah. While the other two games are the month's PS4 games. It's actually the back half of those games that are receiving that triggered the backlash, because Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep is a 9-year-old game that happens to be DLC for a 10-year-old game.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, obviously they're doing it for marketing purposes. Like it's not a great offering for an actual like PS Plus game, but I understand where it's coming from. I did want to before we got too far into this, I wanted to last month, so January of 2020, we got Dirt 5, Deep Rock Galactic, and Persona 5 Strikers. So
yes,
I mean, just
that's
you can't have
that's one of the strongest lineups I've seen.
Oh yeah, like not every month can be an absolute winner, right? I'm also impressed the fact that PlayStation even got anything from EA, considering EA is basically in bed with Xbox
Microsoft
at the moment. So it is what it is, right? Like the Tiny Tina one, again, I didn't play it personally, so I'm okay with it, but I understand where a lot of people's like frustration is with this for sure. Completely understandable. It's a marketing move through and through, and I mean, I didn't expect anything less. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Over on the PlayStation Plus Reddit page, one PlayStation Plus subscriber revealed a detail about Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep that has angered subscribers even further. There's an image out there where the screen greets players when they load up the 9-year-old DLC, and is a pre-order for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is releasing in March as a successor to Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. From a promotion and marketing perspective, this of course makes sense. It does.
Yeah.
But for PlayStation Plus subscribers, it's certainly adding insult to injury, because as you would expect, the original poster isn't the only one that bothered because as you would expect, like more people are bothered by this. Many replies were equally unhappy. One writer is quoted as saying, "Yeah, this is pretty bad. I didn't even realize this was Borderlands 2 DLC since I skipped it. Sick of this crap each month." Another commenter said, "The fact that this kind of aggressive monetization being the norm in the video game industry is now mind blowing." I've got some key points here, as I always do when we get to the big topic. First up, the reaction to PS Plus ebbs and flows depending on the lineup. That is true, but we just talked about last month's lineup, and that was like strong lineup, and that was a kick-ass way to start the year, honestly. The vast majority of subscribers were pretty happy with Deep Rock Galactic, Dirt 5, and Persona 5 Strikers last month, which were all decent and all well-recommended games. These are games that we've talked about over the past year before they even, with the exception of Deep Rock Galactic, because that's a fairly new title. Am I right?
Yeah, that was day one for PlayStation.
Yeah.
Persona 5 Strikers is what, 6 to 8 months old, maybe. I
Yeah.
mean,
That was
a
fast
just
turnaround.
a year, and Dirt
was it?
5
Okay.
is also less than a year as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Because Persona 5 Strikers came out last February, so it's just barely before a year. And then Dirt 5, I think, was, I want to say in the summer. Like, I feel like it's not that old, if I remember correctly.
no, it's not. Yeah, I'm looking up dates right now. Yeah. Strikers was February 20th of 2020. Was that only in Japan first? Is that what's going on there?
Oh, yeah, it did go to Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it
Japan
came
first. Yeah.
Dirt 5 release date was November 6th of 2020. So just over. But I mean, regardless, like, that's still not bad, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the response to this month's PlayStation Plus lineup with UFC 4 and Planet Coaster as the headliners was less than positive. But what we really talk about is Tiny Tina's assault on Dragon Keep. Tiny Tina's assault on Dragon Keep was a pretty good Borderlands 2 DLC. Its inclusion represents a pretty significant value drop for Sony's PS Plus service, though. The standalone version of this 2013 expansion, which is what's being offered here, retails on the PlayStation Store for $10 for $9.99. So we are already talking about a massive drop-off compared to last month's games, where pretty much these titles ranged anywhere from $30 to $70, $60, right? Yeah. Wait. No, yeah, because Dirt and Persona 5 Strikers are still at the $60 price tag mark. Yeah,
most of the time.
Yeah. So we had 2 full price releases, and then this game. However, it's made worse by the fact that over 2 years ago, Sony gave away Borderlands: The Handsome Collection as an enormous compilation bundle, which includes Borderlands 2, Borderlands the pre-sequel, and you guessed it, Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. Now, this final key point, Brody already mentioned it, but
I got ahead of you. Sorry.
No. It's okay. It's okay. Like I like when we're all on the same page here. Gamers need to recognize that PlayStation Plus is used as a marketing tool. When you look at titles like Rocket League, which have benefited from the audience exposure, which is always nice to get. It's always nice to get a game like a couple of months before the sequel releases. But in promoting the upcoming Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Sony is shortchanging its subscribers here. It could have, at the very least, re-offered the entire Borderlands Handsome Collection for a second time, which can be purchased for peanuts these days anyway. Like shit. Like I got the Handsome Collection on a damn. It wasn't a Steam sale. I think it was a GOG sale for $3.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can pick it up dirt cheap right now. I mean, pretty regularly.
$3.
I'm double checking, but I'm pretty sure it was not on the Handsome Collection. Like, pretty sure.
Prove me wrong.
I'm gonna look it up
because I'm not 100% positive, but I had heard that it was DLC for a game that's been featured for free. All right. While Austin's looking that up, I'll just go ahead and wrap this up by saying it's not the end of the world by any stretch, but this does deserve some calling out. This is something that we do like to do at Crossroads here. Like we do like to call out, like, you know, when you're done fucked up.
It's definitely included because it's Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel, and it's all of their DLCs, so it should be included in there.
Okay. As PlayStation gamers, we want PlayStation Plus to be the best it can possibly be, and and as members of Crossroads here, we want subscribers to get the most out of it. Sony rarely drops the ball to this extent, so hopefully we can all put it down as a lapse of judgment. But it does need to be reiterated that February's PS Plus update, regardless of your own personal opinion, falls short of the service established high standards. You know, like typically we're always getting at least a $30 game, a $30 or $40 game, and the rest are usually released retail price games and stuff like that. So yeah, I get it. I feel everyone's pain. You know, honestly though, it's another free game for me that I didn't have to pay for, so I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like some of this above is that you read off from the Reddit is a little over dramatic. Definitely more into the world type shit. It's not that big of a deal. They offer a lot of good games on a pretty regular basis. Some months are not great. If you talk to Xbox people, we've had bad games for years now. Ever since Game Pass was announced, the games have been awful. So it's kind of like, obviously I want good games on PlayStation Plus as well, but at the same time, I mean, they have to make deals for these games too, right? Like these are not free things, so not every month can be a completely killer month where you get 3 big headline games that everybody wants, because they still have to make money, and they are also doing this as a promotion. I mean, the free games, like we're getting 3 games now for free when we used to only get 2. Like there's a bunch of stuff you get. And if you have a PlayStation 5, which I am well aware not everybody does, but there's that whole collection that they offer in there, which is chock full of just 20 games.
20 games that, you know, like, I know for sure, like, I didn't play every single one of those games, and the PS4 was a thing, and you know what, that's actually going to segue into what I was about to say a moment, right now. I'm going to be that guy. What's everybody bitching about? Like, I have PlayStation Plus. Like, I used to not have PlayStation Plus because I stopped playing online multiplayer games on the console. And then when I knew I was going to get a PS5, I picked it back up again. And the first thing I had to wrestle with myself is, like, listen, like, every time for the past umpteen years when I had PlayStation Plus, I would download all these games and I would never play them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So once again, you know what? I commend anyone that downloads all these games in a month and plays all those games. You know, I commend those people, because guess what? I can't even take this pen and drop it on a game that I have in my library right now for PlayStation Plus and say that I'm going to play it.
I would also like to point out the fact that the only reason they know that ad is in that game is because they downloaded it and loaded it up and were prepared to play the game. Yes. So clearly you can't be that butthurt about it, because you were actually going to play it anyway. You took the time to download it. You took the time to load it up. You were going to play it. And then you saw the ad and you got pissed off and went straight to Reddit, which, fair enough, whatever. But at the same time, like, you were still planning on playing this game. So clearly you are not that upset about it. It's a small and not necessarily a great showing, but some people are probably going to be stoked about UFC being on there. I'm not that person, but somebody might be. Planet Coaster, like, there's people that love those kinds of games. Like my co-host on Diggity, he loves Roller Coaster Tycoon and shit like that, right?
I love these games. I don't know when I'm going to play Planet Coaster now. I don't know.
Right, but yeah, it's like everybody's taste is their own, and so there's going to be people that are mad, but is it the loud majority or the loud minority, or is this like everybody's genuinely mad? Because I saw a lot of positive things about it too. So it's kind of this weird, like, I don't know, right? Like it seems like the negativity always finds its way to the forefront.
Always
leads the charge for sure. And ultimately they don't have to give a shit, right? Like you used to just have to pay for multiplayer access, right? Like just to be able to play online, and now they give us games to keep people invested and keep people coming back, and they don't have to be $60, $70 games. They can be whatever the fuck they want to offer, and that's what you get.
Yep. Yeah, for real. Like my 2 cents is like, if you don't like it, you don't have to download it. Yeah. If you don't like it, you don't have to have PlayStation Plus. Like, shit, go get a gaming PC where online gaming is absolutely free. You don't have to pay an additional $60 a year just to play games online.
Right. You have to buy all your games, but other than that, I mean, I guess you can be as picky and choosy as what you want there, and you don't have to pay for the membership.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. Honestly, like I said, I understand everybody's pain and whatnot, but you know what, like but like, and this is speaking to those people who are pissed off about Tiny Tina's assault on Dragon Keep. on Dragon's Keep. You probably weren't there when they gave away the Handsome Collection. Wait, hold on. Let me rephrase that. You might have been there when they gave away the Handsome Collection, but somebody else wasn't,
Right.
And now this is their chance to at least get some part of it,
Yeah.
Also on the same token, not everybody buys every piece of DLC that comes out for a game. I sure as hell don't.
Right.
I try to avoid those microtransactions there, buddy.
Yeah.
Because that's what those are. Those are fucking microtransactions for your season passes to your add-on DLC to all that stuff. If it's some shit that you have to pay money for, and let's be serious here. A lot of this stuff does not enhance gameplay. Now DLC like this, which technically counts as a season pass, that enhances gameplay. But for the most part, at the end of the day, you're still paying more money than was originally hit in the MSRP for the title.
Mm.
So now I'm not saying that we give Sony a hall pass to continue giving away free, DLC, in the future, unless they're going to give us full blown expansions, like for example, like the planned expansion for Cyberpunk. If they gave that away like day one, that'd be some cool shit.
Yeah.
But like stuff like this, that's a 9-year-old add-on to a 10-year-old game. Yeah, please don't do that.
Yeah. Well, and I actually wondered like what would be if they decided not to do this, but did like the Frozen Wilds DLC for Horizon. And when you go play Horizon now, I guarantee you that there's a pre-order option that pops up for the next Horizon game. Like it's honestly, I can tell you now, like playing NBA 2K22, there probably is already a pre-order for 2K23 because they know you're going to do it anyway. Like just like go ahead and give us $60 now. Just.
Guess what? Remember how people were bitching about how there's ads and marketing in games? This is it. It's not always as insidious as like a banner that scrolls up and says buy this, play this, do that. It's not always like that.
And nothing can be worse than NBA 2K. Good God.
Oh, good God. That game's just an ad. That's all it is. You literally had to watch ads within the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and now since it loads so fast and you don't have like that loading screen ad, they just throw it to you at the very beginning. So before you can even pick your team, it's like here's like virtual currency and card packs and all this stuff. Like I don't want this. I just want to play your game. What happened to playing games anymore? So I don't know. I said to Mr. Krabs, what a baby. Like that's all I said. We were gonna talk about.
Yeah, I saw your.
I just hate that people whine. I understand, like, I wouldn't want this every month. That would kind of suck. But all these people getting PS Plus, like, I would say I would be willing to bet that 85% of people who get PS Plus are getting it for the online to play online games, and you're just getting these games as a bonus.
And these games as a perk. And guess what? You're getting free shit to use a service. Shut the fuck up.
And these are way better options than what's coming on Games of Gold.
Games of Gold, yeah.
I don't want to hear the Game Pass argument because that's a whole other thing that you have to buy. That's not an argument. You pay the same amount with Gold and Plus every year.
No, they do it as an incentive. It's not an argument so much in the way of like being like, oh, well, they should just get like it is supposed to be like one of those things. The games with Gold quality definitely went down at the same time of Game Pass, not because like to get people to subscribe. Like it's not so much an argument of, oh, well, we have Game Pass. It's more like they are clearly doing it on purpose to push people into Game Pass because they want those subscribers, right?
Yeah.
It's not great. It's predatory, but it's what it is, right? Like, but I mean, what almost everything about the gaming industry anymore is like that's just kind of the way it is. But I mean, that's also the way life is too. Yeah. So it's not. I don't know, right? Like I think there's this sense of entitlement over a lot of this kind of thing that just makes me damn near nauseous because it's ridiculous, right? Sony doesn't fucking owe you shit, right? They don't have to give you these games. They could give you indie games every month, and that could be fine too. Like it's I don't know. Especially when you are as close to the gaming industry as we are doing these shows and things, you see so much of it, and I at least in my case, I get really, really sick of it, and I get really annoyed with it. And
I do too.
But
all right, you guys ready to wrap it up?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Another good show. Another good one in the books. Yeah. With that though, that's our show. As always, we'd like to give a big thanks to you all out there for tuning in to Crossroads PlayStation Podcast, as well as our guest tonight, the wonderful Brody Fultz. Thanks, man. Love having you here, man.
I always love coming on, man. It's always a good time.
Yeah, man. Before we head out, here's how you can get connected with the crew. Brody, you're first.
All right. So you can find me on, as Chris said earlier, on Dad Pod every other Wednesday. You can also find me on Thursdays. I go live with my video game show as well, which is called Diggity. We go live on Twitch and YouTube at 9:30 every Thursday, and the audio version of the show goes up on Friday mornings at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Nice and scheduled early so you can catch it on your drive into work. But yeah, that's typically where you can find us as far as the show. And then if you want to follow us, we would appreciate it over on Twitch or on Twitter and Instagram at Diggity Podcast.
Cool. Austin?
Find me at Placed Austin on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere else. And you'll see me here every Tuesday.
Right. And as always, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Exodus803, EXODUS803. It's also my Twitch and YouTube channels, as well as my PlayStation Network gamer tag. My Xbox Live gamer tag is Exodus0803. Funny story in that. I'll tell it to somebody later. Quick reminder: Crossroads now has a merch store. Links have already been provided in our Twitch stream chat. But for those who need to know about it, head over to redbubble.com/shop/AP/954433129. So cryptic, isn't it? Over at Boss Rush right now, Shane Kelly wants to know which hero deserves their time in the sun. Wait, whoops, my bad. I messed something up there. Shane Kelly, it's with the link to the chat. My bad. Shane Kelly wants to know which hero deserves their time in the sun in an open world game over at for the February 3rd edition of Boss Rush banner. Also on BossRush.com, BossRush.net right now. Andrew Miller tells us all about Project Sonic 22 from Sega. And we talked about it earlier today, like it just got released. But Stephanie Klimov from Boss Rush Podcast and Boss Rush After Dark has a review up for the game Sifu, so check that out. All that and more can be found over at BossRush.net, so head there and check out more editorials and shows from our ever-growing family of creators and contributors. Don't forget about the Boss Rush Network Discord, which you can join at your leisure. There's even a Crossroads PlayStation Podcast server on the Discord just for our fans. And as always, you can chat with us and keep the conversation going by hitting us up on Twitter at PS_Crossroads to dish on more news, events, and topics while we're getting ready for the next installment of Crossroads. This has been episode 69 of Crossroads, the PlayStation Show. The PlayStation Show. I so want to rename this, don't I? Crossroads, the PlayStation Podcast. Come back. Join us next week for another episode of Crossroads, where we will have more things to talk about, PlayStation and gaming. As part of the Boss Rush Games family, we want you all to have a great night and always go out there and be better and play games and take care of yourselves. We'll be back next week. Have a good night, y'all.